Welcome to the Iguana Chronicles, the podcast where we dive into the wild world of South Florida's invasive iguanas. I'm your host, Mike Ronquillo, and each week we'll explore the fascinating history of these creatures, share thrilling tales from the front lines of iguana removal, and provide essential tips for homeowners and business dealing with these scaly invaders. Get ready for an adventure in wildlife management and education right here on the Iguana Chronicles. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Iguana Chronicles podcast. My name is Mike. I'm the owner of Humane Iguana Control. We started this podcast to help share information and education about the problems we have with these invasive reptiles in South Florida. They've been making a huge negative impact, from the economy to our native species. A lot of homeowners are also impacted by these iguana scaly reptiles. These guys, they breed so quickly. The female iguanas lay 70 eggs a year, and it becomes a big problem. It becomes a nuisance for many. So on this episode, we wanted to discuss our nighttime iguana removal services. The nighttime iguana removal has been a game changer for our company. When we first started about 5 years ago, we were doing our regular service of the daytime iguana removal with all our different techniques. And, it worked really well. But there's some properties that are so have so many trees and vegetation and brush, thick stuff that it's hard to locate these iguanas at times. Iguanas blend into their surroundings. They can change their colors and camouflage, so at times they're really difficult to locate. So when we had a couple of properties that we were unsuccessful on finding these iguanas, I had the thought of, where do the iguanas go at night? And I did research, and the iguanas go on trees at night. So what this means is that the iguanas during the day, they'll be out foraging for food, for water sources, doing their thing, pooping in pools, which is another major problem. We're gonna have a full episode about that as well. And when the sun starts going down, these iguanas will go into bushes or trees to sleep. And when we found that out through our research, we started implementing that service to our iguana control methods. So I remember one of the first nights that we implemented this service. It was in Coral Gables, and they had in this property they had hundreds of baby iguanas. If you ever try to catch a baby iguana, it's almost impossible. It can happen. We've done it before, but these guys are fast. I mean, really fast. When they see you, they take off, they hide, and then they're almost impossible to locate because they're about 6 inches long. So this particular property has hundreds of orchids throughout their property, throughout all their trees. They have them wrapped, beautiful, beautiful blooming orchids. And the homeowner is getting extremely frustrated. So imagine you have these orchids, some are very rare orchids, and these iguanas are just eating all the flowers away. And you have to understand that some of these orchids only bloom once a year. So to wait all year round to have these orchids bloom and have iguanas just eating these flowers, it can become extremely frustrating. And this client was extremely frustrated with the situation. So when we implemented this nighttime iguana removal service on this property, we went there the first night, and we went with our LED headlight that it's like a head strap-on LED flashlight that we use to locate iguanas. We were amazed. We were in shock. Every time we were shining to the bushes or the trees, we would look at these iguanas, and it was crazy. It was amazing. So how it works is that when we use this light, the color of the iguana is like a brighter green color. So when you shine the light on a bush, the color from the iguana stands out from the surroundings. So you might think that the bushes are green, the iguana's green. How are you going to find them? It's crazy that when you shine the light on them at night, their bright green color stands out from the surrounding areas. So when we did this first service on the night and we started looking at these iguanas, we were just, again, amazed, how many iguanas we were catching and removed. We ended up removing about 100 iguanas from this property. It was a very big property, and they were highly infested. So we just started, the baby iguanas, we could actually just hand grab them because they're in low areas, and just, pick them off the trees, literally, like you're picking fruits. And it worked amazing. And the larger iguanas as well, be in higher trees, we'll use our tools to remove them from the trees, and it just worked, phenomenal. And since then, it's just been a huge game changer for properties. A lot of properties were unsuccessful with hiring companies to remove their iguanas, and they will catch one or two, but the problem never got resolved. And when we started implementing this, we started getting calls about, hey, your nighttime iguana removal service, we want to try it. We've seen your videos on YouTube, on Instagram, and I think it's going to work on our property. And these are the properties that have, lots of vegetation. And it just blew up from there. It started, helping properties, helping schools, and it's just been amazing. Schools has been a huge game changer. You have to understand that during the day, there's a lot of activity in these schools. You have kids running around, they have events, they have staff members, going back and forth. And on some of these properties, there's no other method you could use other than nighttime iguana removal service or going the day with like a long pole, because trapping and shooting is not allowed in these local schools. So we were doing this one school in particular that, these iguanas were digging burrows on play areas. The iguanas were also defecating in common areas where kids will play at. And this is all a big problem. Remember, when iguanas dig burrows to lay their eggs, they leave the hole most of the time open. And these holes are typically, a good 7 to 8 inches wide, the shape of half of a circle. And, we've heard stories of kids getting hurt, like twisting their ankles or fracturing their foot from running into these holes when they're doing their sports or just, running around outside playing. So, and the iguanas defecating in common areas is a huge health risk. You have to understand that these iguanas, they carry salmonella in their feces. They may carry salmonella in their feces, sorry. And, when these kids are playing around with sports and touching these feces, unintentionally, if they touch their mouth or something, they could get infected by this. Especially in playgrounds, where smaller kids play. If there's overhanging trees on these areas, the iguanas like to defecate from trees as well. So when the feces, falls from the sky, like I like to say, and it splatters everywhere, it's a problem. We always recommend for the schools and any places that have this problem with iguana feces to make sure you clean it off and sanitize it properly to avoid any health risk to, people, pets, or children. So the schools we started doing at nighttime, it helped them out tremendously. They started seeing less burrows, they started seeing less iguana activities. They saved money on their vegetation from the iguanas eating all the plants. These are just some of the problems that are created by iguanas. So on this other particular school, they had the same exact problem. The iguanas were defecating, they were doing the burrows. So we went at nighttime and we started moving these iguanas from their trees, and the main person from the school was extremely happy. They say like, listen, this has been amazing. You guys, came in here and did an amazing job with these iguanas. Thank you so much. It's super grateful. I'm super grateful for the service that we provide. Helping schools and properties. Keeping kids safe and pets safe. It's been amazing. So we do use this iguana removal at nighttime. On various properties. We do it in homes and hotels and associations, and again, it's just been shown great results. For many, especially hotels on the beach. The buildings on the beach they have a lot of iguanas. Remember, the beach is surrounded by water. They have interconnecting canals. They have the ocean. So these iguanas travel usually from canals. So let's say if there's homes that have iguanas and the other side of the canal has buildings, these iguanas will swim out to these new buildings and just start living in these areas. And by the time you know it, these properties are all infested. So on these buildings on the beach as well, we'll implement the nighttime iguana removal services, because they don't want people out there trapping or doing any kind of shooting of iguanas during the day, which is of course is understandable. So that's why we started the nighttime service, and it's been amazing. It's given us a huge upper hand on removing infestations. We'll show up there one night. If you have 20 iguanas on trees, we could literally remove those 20 iguanas. This has been one of the best ways that we've implemented the service for these properties that haven't had any other success from removing iguanas, from their homes. So since we started, we've had a lot of great reviews from this service from many customers and property managers as well. They've been super ecstatic of how it works and the way we go about it. And it's you don't get disturbed. When we show up at night, we don't just go in and start shooting, or hand grabbing or using our tools. We let you know, hey, we're gonna show up today around this time, right when it gets dark. We're gonna be wearing some bright neon green safety vests so they can identify who we are. Remember, you don't want somebody just walking to your backyard not knowing who they are. So we make sure we're wearing something to identify who we are. On the back of our safety vest, it shows all our company information, Humane Iguana Control, our phone number, just so they know, who's on their property. And this is really important to use also like in hotels and associations, because a lot of people in associations might not be aware that you're coming that night. So they could easily identify who we are. So that's pretty much it about our nighttime iguana removal services. If you guys have any questions about that type of service, and if you think it can help you, we would love to hear from you. If you guys have any questions about our podcast, or any questions about iguanas, or if they're affecting you, we want to hear from you guys. You can send us a message, and we'll definitely talk about it on one of our upcoming episodes. As for this one, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning into the episode of the Iguana Chronicles. We hope you enjoyed the deep dive into the challenges and triumphs of managing South Florida's iguana population. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to this podcast. Stay informed and stay proactive. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, keep an eye out for those iguanas.